Hey everyone, it's Luke here from LT Gaming and welcome back to the channel. There's something endlessly exciting about coming back to Naval Wargames. Few corners of gaming manage to combine this much tension, history and sheer drama at sea. Whether you're managing a single submarine in hostile waters, orchestrating massive fleet actions, or experimenting with ship designs that push imagination as much as realism. This list pulls together all sorts of experiences. Tactical sims where one bad sonar reading can doom you, grand strategy titles that stretch across entire theatres of war, and creative sandboxes for the shipbuilders out there. It's a lineup that spans eras from ancient galleys to Cold War missile duels, showing just how broad the naval wargaming world really is. I've even included a few lighter surprises that prove naval warfare doesn't always have to be heavy and serious. So if you've a soft spot for depth charges, carrier battles, or just the thrill of outguessing an opponent at sea, you're in the right place. And hey, consider this your convoy escort moment, drop a like to keep this channel afloat as we dive into 20 of the best naval wargames you can play in 2025. Let's go! Cold Waters drops you into the Cold War with a twist. You're commanding a submarine tasked with missions like intercepting convoys, halting amphibious landings, and even special operations insertions. What makes it stand out is the tension between advanced tech like wire-guided torpedoes, anti-ship missiles, and realistic sonar, and the constant risk of being hunted yourself. The waters you sneak through aren't just scenic, each depth, enemy contact, and sensor ping carries weight. Why Cold Waters still hits hard in 2025 is that it balances realism with approachability in a way many high-end sim fans praise. The dynamic campaigns change based on how you play, letting you feel like your choices matter. The variety in eras like 68, 84 and 2000 gives you different toolsets and challenges, so you don't get stuck doing the same thing. Plus, it really has some solid community love, updates, and the kind of replay value where you just want to try again just to avoid getting sunk. This one's a real gem. War on the Sea drops you into the South Pacific in 1942, where you oversee task forces, convoys, subs, and aircraft in a dynamic struggle. What sets it apart is how it merges big decisions with hands-on action. Do you commit carriers to protect supply lines, screen your convoys with destroyers, deploy subs to ambush? The real-time combat is framed in theatrical external views so you can see the drama unfolding, fires flooding, carrier aircraft launching, and how your fleet handles adversity under pressure. In 2025, this game still delivers because it strikes a solid balance between spectacle and strategy. The campaign shifts based on what you do, so your choices ripple out, defender push forward, preserve ships, or roll the dice. There's a real weight to managing damage, controlling aircraft tactically, not flying them but using them critically, and repairing them in the midst of combat with the realism of buoyancy physics when ships go under. Also, the historical missions and class of early war ships give a sense of authenticity that still holds up. Now, the game has dropped off in its updates, but I will say it's still worth a spot on a naval wargame list. Harpoon Classic 97 drops you into modern naval warfare across global hotspots with ships, subs, and aircraft under your command. It's a map-driven experience that focuses on tactics and planning, radar coverage, sensor ranges, loadouts, and formations, which matter more than flashy effects. It's still hanging in there in 2025 because it actually came out this year, and it's got the sheer scope of scenarios and the precision that those demand. With hundreds of missions to work through, it still rewards players who enjoy the cold, methodical side of naval warfare. It's a classic that proves data-driven strategy can be just as tense and satisfying as any 3D battle. Carrier Battles 4 Guadalcanal drops you straight into the decisive carrier clashes of the Pacific War, where every aircraft launch and spotting mission can tip the balance. Instead of flying the planes yourself, you're managing squadrons, tracking enemy fleets, and making the call on when to commit your carriers or keep them hidden. With scenarios covering Midway, Coral Sea, Santa Cruz, and of course Guadalcanal, it's a game that captures the high-stakes chess match of carrier warfare. This one still stands out in 2025 because every decision feels razor sharp. There are no flashy effects to lean on here. The tension comes from planning, guessing, and reacting to the enemy's moves. The AI puts up a real fight, the scenarios are polished and varied, and the game's clean design makes it endlessly replayable. You want the drama of the Pacific War without the fluff. This one nails it in true wargaming fashion. U-boat puts you right inside a German submarine in World War II, but instead of just pressing buttons, you're managing the whole crew's lives. Every dive becomes a balancing act, oxygen, morale, supplies, even keeping the men sane while destroyers hunt you down. It feels like a machine you drive in a world where you're desperately trying to keep afloat. What keeps U-Boat relevant in 2025 is how it mixes tense cinematic encounters with the slower human side of survival. The crew aren't just numbers, they're characters you'll grow attached to, which makes every loss sting. Add in the steady stream of updates and the very positive reviews, and it's still one of the most immersive and nerve-shredding naval experiences you can play today. And I'll be honest, I need to revisit this one. I've definitely neglected it, and I think you should too. Destroyer the U-Boat Hunter puts you in command of an escort destroyer in the Battle of the Atlantic, with everything riding on how well you detect, track and destroy U-boats while keeping your convoy alive. You interact with different battle stations, lookouts, sonar, CIC and face varied U-boat captain behaviours, plus changing weather, time of day and attack patterns that keep you guessing. What makes it worth playing in 2025 is that it hits a sweet spot between tension and accessibility. You get serious immersion, voice reports, multi-station responsibilities, realistic models, while still being approachable enough that you can jump in without needing an encyclopedia. Its procedural battle generation keeps the replay value strong, with every convoy run playing out differently and keeping the cat and mouse tension alive. Boat Crew puts you in command of a PT boat in the Pacific during World War II, but it isn't just about guns and speed, you're also managing your crew, your resources, and the choices of when to fight and when to slip away. It mixes real action like dodging shells, strafe runs and torpedoes with lighter touch crew mechanics. Putting people in the right roles, swapping weapons, customizing loadouts, dealing with limited supplies, and responding to environmental pressures like weather and tides. What makes it worth a look in 2025 is its dynamic campaign. Every mission feels like part of something bigger, harassing supply lines, hitting enemy bases, protecting allies, and your decisions matter on the strategic map. The game balances risk and reward. Go in guns blazing and you might pay for it. Play smart, scrape resources, upgrade effectively, and you'll feel real growth. Plus, because it's early access but showing lots of polish and very positive feedback, it has momentum. Players are already finding great replay value, even while waiting for it to fully mature. Silent Hunter 3 throws you back into World War II in command of a German U-boat, but what keeps it special is how atmospheric and dynamic every patrol becomes. The campaign isn't just fixed missions, you get a patrol grid, real naval traffic, convoys, escorts, even changing air coverage. What makes Silent Hunter 3 still worth playing in 2025 is its community and modding life. The base game's old, sure, I get that, and it's graphically dated, but the mods bring it alive. There's better graphics, modern widescreen fixes, more content, and improvements to realism. And players who like slow, thoughtful submarine warfare, that kind of balance of planning, stealth, and patience, find it rewarding. It's not for everybody, but for those who love the sink and survive in silence vibe, Silent Hunter 3 still delivers. Naval Art hands you the keys to a full naval sandbox where you design, build, and command your own warships. Every detail is yours to shape, from hulls, armor, guns, torpedoes, and the physics that decide whether your creation sails smoothly or capsizes under its own weight. What makes it stand out in 2025 is the freedom it gives you. The workshop is packed with player-made ships and updates which keep improving how designs look and perform at sea. Whether you want to recreate history or build something wild from scratch, Naval Art is still the go-to for anyone who loves the art of shipbuilding as much as naval combat. Ultimate Admiral Age of Sail throws you into the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, where wind, wood and broadsides decide the fate of fleets. You'll be commanding ships of the line, frigates and smaller vessels, trimming sails of the wind, and trading thunderous volleys where every mast, cannon and plank can be the difference between victory and defeat. What makes it stand out in 2025 is how well it captures a feel of command during this era, which is of course one of my favourites. And the campaigns take you from small engagements to grand fleet actions, even blending in land battles and amphibious assaults for a varied approach. The realistic sailing model and detailed damage system still make every encounter feel authentic, and its historical weight gives it staying power long after its release. I really enjoyed this one and did find the game a real challenge overall. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed, so make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. Naval Hurricane takes you back to World War I, where you command Royal Navy or Imperial German forces, dreadnoughts, destroyers and even stealthy submarines in tactical turn-based battles. What makes it stand out is how it models damage, visibility and crew roles in detail. You've got ship flooding, fires, hull breaches, smoke obscuring your view, and having to manage damage control manually so that your prize ship doesn't live off the battlefield. What makes Naval Hurricane worth checking out in 2025 is its ambition and its feel of being built for the fans. It's still in early access and has been for a long time, but there are updates on a regular basis, which means while there are still rough edges, its core systems are solid enough that you already feel impact in every decision. The planned campaign map, more ship classes and extra mechanics on the roadmap mean it's only going to get deeper. For players who like World War I naval warfare with thoughtful pacing, strategic tension, and a strong sense of historical weight, this is one that's steadily maturing into something memorable. Atlantic Fleet drops you into the Battle of the Atlantic, where you command surface ships, subs, and aircraft for either the Royal Navy or the Kriegsmarine. I took a stab at that pronunciation without looking it up, so let me know how I did. It builds tension on two levels, the tactical threat of convoy battles and the broader campaign where every success or failure shapes the war. Damage isn't just numbers here, flooding, buoyancy, and subsystem failures decide whether a ship limps home or slips under. It's definitely worth playing in 2025 with that dynamic campaign which runs from 1939 to 1945, and you constantly face tough decisions, like when to risk an attack, when to protect a convoy, or when to conserve scarce resources. Even years on, the mix of historical scenarios, clear visual feedback, and hard-hitting naval drama gives Atlantic Fleet a staying power that few wargames manage. Hasbro's Battleship drops you into turn-based naval combat and a faithful digital take on the classic board game, where it's all about placing your ships, calling your shots, and outguessing your opponent. Now bear with me, I know we've been talking about serious wargames today, but sometimes simple can still be fun. The addition of Commanders mode with different captains and special abilities adds just enough spice to keep things interesting. This one's still worth picking up in 2025 because it's that ultimate quickfire naval fix. It's easy to pick up, perfect for a few rounds with friends, but still sneaks in more tactical depth than you'd expect thanks to those commander perks and fleet variations. It won't test your operational planning skills like War in the Pacific Admirals Edition or Command Modern Operations, but as a lighter counterpoint it earns a place on this list, and I had a lot of fun just messing about with this one. Fleet Command puts you at the helm of modern naval warfare with carriers, submarines, aircraft and escorts all under your control in real-time missions. Detection, fuel and weapons management keep you on edge, and every decision carries weight when one wrong move can cost you half a task force. Even in 2025, its design has aged well. The scenarios remain tense and replayable, and with community mods smoothing visuals and adding content, it still feels alive decades later. It's really just proof that a well-built naval sim doesn't lose its edge, it just keeps rewarding careful commanders. Mare Nostrvm drops you into the ancient Mediterranean, where fleets of galleys clash in battles that rely more on maneuver and timing than raw firepower. You'll be ramming, boarding and grappling with everything from light vessels to massive Roman ships, all while trying to outthink your opponent in the chaos of squadrons, fatigue and limited command control. This one of course stands out for its rare focus on ancient naval warfare, something few games even touch. The WeGo order system adds a layer of tension as you commit to moves without knowing exactly what your enemy will do. That mix of planning and unpredictability makes every clash replayable, and for players who want something different from the usual gun and torpedo action, it's a hidden gem that still feels fresh today. Wargame design studios Midway drops you into the most famous carrier clash of the Pacific War, where the balance of power shifted in just a few days of desperate strikes and counterstrikes. The game covers not only the Battle of Midway itself, but also Coral Sea, Eastern Solomon, Santa Cruz, and a range of what-if scenarios that let you see how different choices could have changed the course of the war. With detailed order of battle, historical carrier groups, and fog of war always pressing in, it captures a knife-edge tension of carrier operations in World War II. This one continues to impress because of its mix of historical weight and scenario variety. Each battle feels different, demanding you manage reconnaissance, plan airstrikes, and make the gamble of committing carriers at the right moment. The system has been polished with recent updates, so even though it's rooted in classic design, it plays smoothly and rewards patient planning. For players who want to feel the strain of carrier command at the Pacific's turning point, Midway still delivers that tension like few others. Also, this is another title not available on Steam. I'll leave a link to the Wargame Design Studios website in the description below. They have a whole load of naval titles you should definitely check out, plus others. Rule the Ways 3 puts you in charge of a navy from the age of ironclads in 1890, which is one of my favourite time periods, through to the missile era of the 1970s. You'll design ships, manage budgets and treaties, and guide your fleet through decades of technological change, from coal-fired dreadnoughts to carriers, jets and guided missiles. The game is so ambitious, it's absolutely insane, and it's really more of a grand strategy title overall, which is such a unique game and just really impressive. What makes it stand out in 2025 is that sense of evolution. Every design choice, every investment, and every doctrine shift feels like it shapes history in your hands. Few games let you see naval warfare transform so dramatically over time, and that long arc of decisions is what keeps players coming back. War in the Pacific Admiral's Edition, while being absolutely hardcore, drops you into the full sweep of the Pacific theatre, where every ship, plane, and base is modelled in staggering detail. You're not just pushing counters, you're tracking damage control, pilot fatigue, supply chains, port repairs, and the day-to-day grind of keeping a massive war effort afloat. I mean, this one stands out for the sheer scale of immersion it still delivers. Few games demand as much from the player, but even fewer reward you with such a sense of command. Every decision here has weight, from carrier strikes to convoy routes, and that unforgiving depth is exactly why it continues to be the definitive Pacific War experience. One for the very hardcore. If you're looking for this one, it's also not on Steam, so I'll make sure to leave a link to the Matrix or Slytherin store so you can pick it up. Command Modern Operations, aside from being one of my favourite games of all time, hands you control of modern air, sea, sub, satellites, and even drones, intense cross-domain warfare. You're ordering missions across a globe teeming with real terrain, satellite imagery, weather, rules of engagement, everything from Cold War standoffs to futuristic strike operations. This one stands out in 2025 due to its sheer scale and fidelity. Weapon systems, sensors, communications, even drone autonomy, and comms jamming are modelled so deeply that tactical missteps hurt. The UI keeps improving, scenarios keep coming, and the replay value is massive. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Falklands War campaign, especially the what-if scenarios, like what if the British didn't get rid of their massive aircraft carrier before the war and had access to Phantoms and Buccaneers. Absolutely awesome roleplay for wargamers like me. Whether it's a quick patrol mission or a decade-long theatre campaign, you feel like you're truly orchestrating the gears of modern warfare. Sea power naval combat in the missile age throws you into Cold War waters from the 60s through the 80s, where NATO and Warsaw Pact forces clash intense, sensor-driven battles. You'll manage aircraft launches, missile strikes, and submarine hunts whilst trying to stay hidden in the fog of war. Every radar ping or sonar contact feels like it could spiral into disaster. It's standing tall in the genre because of how authentic and ambitious it already feels. With over 100 units across multiple theatres like the Mediterranean and North Atlantic, it captures the complexity of Cold War naval combat without drowning you in busy work. The cat and mouse play between detection and first strike gives it an intensity that few modern naval games can match, and steady updates are already improving balance and content. Looking ahead for me, Sea Power could become the go-to for Cold War naval sims if the developers deliver on their plans. Dynamic campaign, more scenarios, and continued polish would cement it as a successor to classics like Fleet Command and Harpoon. For players who want the thrill of modern missile combat with room to grow, this is one to keep on the radar. This was an absolutely epic list to make, and as always, there's more to come in the future on LT Gaming. I've been Luke, and I'll catch you on the next one.